Well, when it comes to this weekend's UFC event, there will be not one, but two Trumps at UFC Newark. Donald Trump Jr.'s brother Eric will be cage-side when Colby Covington takes on Robbie Lawler in a big-time UFC welterweight bout. Now, the brothers will be rooting for Covington, who needs to win this one really to challenge for the championship belt, and co-headlining the event, a lightweight bout between veterans Jim Miller and Clay Guida. Covington, by the way, as we take a look at the tail of the tape, he is a more than 2-1 favorite against Lawler. So you're having a former interim champ go against the former welterweight champion, and the age difference there, a 6-year age gap. A win for Covington could lead to a title shot against welterweight title holder Kamaru Usman. We'll get that answered and a lot more. Nobody better than Brian Campbell here joining us here, combat sports writer and host of the State of Combat Sports Pod. So, look, you had a really nice conversation with Colby Covington, some great insight from the pod. Before you break that down, let's take a listen real quickly about Covington talking about Lawler.
He saw a picture of Tyron Woodley hanging in the gym when he went into the gym, and he got all up in his feelings. He's a sensitive little guy, and, you know, he went back and he left the gym. He turned his back on all the people that helped build him up, all the coaches, all the training partners. Dan Lambert did everything for him, gave him everything he wanted whenever he wanted. He's had it better than anybody. I have a job to do this weekend. That's leave Robbie Lawler in a pool of his own blood. This is just the Colby and Robbie thing. You know, I know a lot of guys like him, and he still has a lot of friends there. But, you know, I've always had that mantra that, you know, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. So, and Robbie Lawler, you know, I really do take it personal, man. The things he did to American Top Team, he just up and left our gym. We built him back up. If you guys don't remember, he left Arizona, he left Iowa, he left, you know, all these training camps. The problem's always been Robbie Lawler. The problem's not American Top Team. The problem is Robbie Lawler. So, you know, he turned our back on our gym, American Top Team. I'm going to make him pay for it on Saturday night.
All right, BC, I'll bring you back into the fold. You did the interview. Give us some insight into this rivalry. Sometimes, you know, guys talk to talk. How genuine is sort of the animosity between these two guys here?
There has been a soap opera build to this fight, as you heard in Colby Covington's words right there. But talking to Robbie Lawler, which I did 1 month ago, he says this is all one-sided. You heard sort of the beef between the two, both former teammates in South Florida at American Top Team right in your backyard, Tommy. Robbie Lawler has since left the gym. He says things are great. I left to try something new. From Colby Covington's point of view, Robbie Lawler betrayed his old team and did so because of a framed photo of Tyron Woodley knocking him out. I don't know where you can go with that. But what it seems here is we know Colby Covington is polarizing. We know he tries to get under people's skin. He's also red hot, entering this fight on a 5-fight win streak. The former UFC interim title holder who really had his belt taken away in unceremonious situations because he wasn't healthy enough to face former champion Tyron Woodley. Will any of this bother Robbie Lawler? He told me, no, not at all. I trained to fight. I trained to go in there and knock you out. Colby Covington can say what he wants to say. What's interesting here, though, Tommy, is if you know Robbie Lawler well, the former champion, there's a warrior deep inside there. Do you really want to poke that bear? Colby Covington says yes.
So that's all the chatter outside of the cage. Let's focus on the things inside the cage, and that's the type of fight that we expect. So Lawler obviously has the experience. He's got the fights under his belt. And then you talked about Covington, who's red hot right now. How much has he evolved as more than a wrestler, and what type of fight are you expecting this weekend?
Look, from his point of view, he's the greatest wrestler, and I think the greatest welterweight, he said, in UFC history. Sounds a little hyperbolic, but what he is a fantastic pressure fighter. Yes, his wrestling's fantastic, but he stays in your face and stays in your grill. And he told me he's evolved. He is a multi-dimensional, well-rounded fighter, and he welcomes the chance that Robbie Lawler, who has a great takedown defense game, can stuff his takedowns and force this into a firefight. If you were handicapping this bout, you would think that's the worst situation for Covington, because even though Robbie Lawler is 37 years old, he's one of the most dangerous strikers still today in this entire game. From Covington's point of view, he outstruck Rafael dos Anjos. He outstruck all of his top recent opponents. He's ready to do the same for Lawler. What can you expect? I think you can expect violence. Lawler may be coming in here off of a 2-fight losing skid, but let's not forget his last bout against Ben Askren had that controversial ending in which he wasn't out cold from a choke, yet the fight was stopped. What did we see in that fight? We saw Lawler pick up Askren and drop him on his head. Lawler is reborn following that title loss 3 years back. Took a long time off. Seems in the best shape of his career. Seems powerful and ready. It will come down to exactly what Colby Covington said. Can Robbie Lawler consistently keep this fight on the feet? If he does, we may have a violent bout here. And we're going to find out real quick whether Colby Covington's opinion of his own striking game is accurate.
Vegas certainly likes Covington's odds. Again, he's a more than 2-to-1 favorite coming to this one. I will get your prediction in a little bit, but I do want to sort of talk about potential storylines for each fighter, and we'll stick with Covington here. There is a popular belief that if he does well, he will get a chance at Kamaru Usman and that champ. What do you think about a victory? And, BC, do style points matter? Does it have to be more than a decision here for Covington?
Let's not forget, this division has completely reloaded after Tyron Woodley's loss to Kamaru Usman. It's a wild, wild west now. You have a lot of big-name players. A lot of them have big personalities. So it almost comes down, Tommy, to who had the best performance once Kamaru Usman, who's currently injured, is ready to get back in that cage. Certainly Jorge Masvidal's 5-second KO of Askren in July that went plenty viral is a strong statement. But Covington, the former interim title holder, like I mentioned, 5-fight winning streak, you have to believe he may have an edge because of that, where if he can come out and control and dominate Robbie Lawler, whether it's a stoppage or going the full distance, he may end up having an edge in terms of getting that title shot because of sort of the viral nature of his trash talking, because of the streak he's been on. But let's not forget one thing. Usman is hurt. We don't really know when he's coming back. I asked Colby Covington, would you be willing to face Jorge Masvidal, your current teammate at ATT, if it was an opportunity to bring that interim title back into play? He said him and Masvidal are best friends, but they're also both businessmen. And they would be willing to fight each other, but only for the undisputed championship. Something interesting to look at there. But from the standpoint of what does he get if he wins, Colby Covington could very well be getting that next title bid.
What about the other side and Ruthless, a guy who made his UFC debut back in 2002? What would a win mean for him?
I mean, if he could get a devastating knockout, you'd really be talking about throwing his name back into the title picture. But let's not forget, he was supposed to get that rematch with Tyron Woodley just a month ago. It was called off when Woodley got hurt. Could Lawler automatically secure a title bid with a win? Probably not. You may end up seeing him rematching Woodley no matter what when he comes back, but certainly from the idea of staying right in this crowded pool and making a big name for yourself as a former champion, Lawler may be a sleeper in here and getting that opportunity.
All right, BC, before I let you go, we got to pay this thing off. Give me a prediction here. Who wins and why?
Look, Covington, rightfully the betting favorite. You consider that gas tank, which is arguably the best in the whole sport. You consider that ability to just drag you to the ground and lay all over you. But let's consider one more thing. Robbie Lawler's one hell of a live underdog here. He seems reborn, like I mentioned, mentally and physically in the best shape of his career. And if you watch that fight with Askren, the explosiveness, the ruthlessness, to play a pun on words there of his nickname, all seem true. One thing Colby Covington has not proved to us yet is that he is an elite striker. Look for him to have plenty of moments where he is in control of this fight. But I think when it's all said and done, this is a fight Robbie Lawler can win by knockout, and I think he will, to make a very large statement that he's not going anywhere at 37.
Wow, BC, going that way. A guy that always has a full tank of gas and some nos on the side. Brian Campbell joining us here, breaking it down, getting us ready for UFC Fight Night out of Newark. Thank you so much, BC, as we take a look at the rest of the card right here. Take a look at Jim Miller and Clay Guida, a couple of veterans that will go at it, and BC also likes the underdog in this one. Guida plus 150 right around there this weekend. And if you love BC, I know I do, check out the State of Combat podcast. It's boxing, wrestling, and, of course, our conversation about mixed martial arts. Hit the subscribe button. Guy B-Wise, also a regular contributor as well. Check it out today.